Tonight, we are digging into one of the most baffling and just heartbreaking unsolved mysteries in American history. It's a story that kicks off with a night of pure joy and celebration, but it ends in a way that just completely defies any kind of logical explanation. It's a human tragedy, really, frozen in the snows of the Sierra Nevada.
And this right here is the question at the absolute core of this whole thing. It is a chilling paradox that has haunted investigators and the families of these men for over 40 years. So as we go through the facts, I want you to keep this question in your head, because I'm telling you, none of the answers seem to make any sense at all.
All right, so let's set the scene. The date is February 24th, 1978, and we've got 5 really close friends who are just on top of the world. They've just watched their favorite college basketball team pull off an exciting win, and they've got their own big tournament the very next day. This was supposed to be the start of a fantastic weekend for them.
So let's talk about who these men were. Their families lovingly called them the boys, and they were an incredibly tight-knit group. Now, 4 of the 5 had mild intellectual disabilities, and the 5th, Gary Mathias, was managing his schizophrenia with medication. But by every single account, they were just gentle, kind souls, loved by their families, and their biggest passion in life was basketball.
This timeline really shows you just how normal everything was supposed to be. They drive about 50 miles north to a town called Chico, they watch the game, and on the way back, they do what any group of guys would do. They stop for snacks. The market clerk was actually the last person known to have seen them alive. She remembered being a little annoyed because they came in right at closing time. They bought some sodas, chocolate milk, candy bars, and then they got back into Jack Madruga's prized Mercury Montego to head home. But they didn't head home. Instead of taking the easy, straightforward route south back to Yuba City, they made a turn, a completely bizarre, inexplicable turn that took them east and then north, climbing higher and higher and higher into the remote wilderness of the Plumas National Forest, driving straight into a winter storm.
And look at this. This map just perfectly illustrates how insane that decision was. On the left, you've got the simple, direct, 50-mile drive home on a main road. But on the right, that's the path they took, a 70-mile detour up a winding, poorly maintained mountain road at night in the middle of winter. None of them were dressed for that kind of weather, and the driver, Jack Madruga, was known by everyone to absolutely hate the cold and the mountains. It just makes no sense.
Now, way out on this desolate road, we get our only witness. A man named Joseph Shans was actually stuck in the snow himself, and he was having a mild heart attack in his car. Around 11:30 that night, he sees headlights pop up behind him. He sees a group of people, hears them talking, and he even saw what he thought was a woman holding a baby. He cries out for help, but instead of coming to his aid, they just stopped talking and turned off their lights. A little while later, he saw flashlights. He called out again, and the flashlights went dark.
4 days later, a park ranger finds the Montego, and this is where the mystery just goes off the rails. The car wasn't badly stuck. The police who found it were confident that 5 healthy guys could have easily pushed it out. It still had gas, and when they turned the key, it started right up. So this raises the biggest question yet. Why in the world would they abandon a perfectly good car to walk deeper into a blizzard?
The initial search for the men was quickly shut down by a massive blizzard, and for the next 3 months there was just nothing, silence and snow. Then, in early June, as the spring thaw began to peel back that heavy winter blanket, the mountains started to reveal its horrifying secrets.
The discoveries just unfolded so tragically over several days. On June 4th, a group of motorcyclists are way up in the mountains, and they stumble upon a Forest Service trailer nearly 20 miles from where the car was abandoned. Inside, they found the body of Ted Waher. In the days that followed, searchers found the remains of Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, and then Jackie Hewitt, scattered across the desolate landscape. But Gary Mathias, the 5th man, was nowhere to be found, and he remains missing to this very day. But the most disturbing part of this entire case isn't just where they were found, but how. The discovery inside that Forest Service trailer presents a paradox so profound it almost seems impossible. This was a place of shelter that should have saved them. Instead, it became a tomb for at least one of them. This number, it represents the estimated weight that Ted Waher lost before he died. He was found wrapped in 8 sheets, like a shroud. He'd grown a long beard, and his feet were terribly frostbitten. The coroner determined that he had survived for a staggering 8 to 13 weeks. He slowly, agonizingly starved to death, all alone in that trailer, well into the month of May.
And what is just so completely confounding is what was right there, within arm's reach. Inside and right outside that trailer was everything they needed to survive. A locker was packed with enough dehydrated food for a whole year. There were military sea rations, matches, books for kindling, warm clothes, and a huge propane tank that could have provided heat. They had found the one place for miles around that could have saved all of them.
And yet, they didn't. That locker full of food was never even opened. The propane tank was never turned on. I mean, it looks like they opened a few cans of rations, but the vast majority of all these life-saving supplies were just ignored. Why? Why would you endure a slow, agonizing death from cold and starvation when warmth and food were right there?
This baffling behavior has left everyone, from investigators to their families, with so many more questions and answers. The case is just this cascade of illogical choices that defy any easy explanation. It forces us to look at several competing theories, and honestly, none of them perfectly fit all the facts.
And sitting right at the center of so many of these theories is the one man who was never found, Gary Mathias. You see, his sneakers were found inside the trailer, which strongly suggests he was there with Ted Waher for a while. Did his schizophrenia without his medication play a role in all this? Did he somehow lead the group on this tragic journey? Or was he, too, just another victim who wandered off into the wilderness, his fate completely unknown?
So, okay, how can we even begin to make sense of this? Let's walk through the main theories. First, the simplest one. They just got lost and confused. Maybe they saw tracks from a snowcat and thought, hey, that must lead to safety. But the counterpoint to that is pretty stark. Experts say that a 19-mile trek through a blizzard in street clothes was nearly impossible. And the odds of just stumbling on that specific trailer? 1 in 1,000. Then you have to consider foul play. This would explain that weird encounter Joseph Scons had, the fear, the headlights being turned off. But that theory has its own problems. If someone forced them up the mountain, why lead them to a shelter and just leave? And finally, you have to look at systemic failure. The investigation was a mess, split across 3 counties with no one really in charge, the car wasn't treated as a crime scene, and a key tip about that trailer's location might have been lost in the bureaucracy. Now that doesn't explain why they went up there, but it might explain why no one found Ted Waher in time to save him.
At the end of the day, we are left with this profound human tragedy. 5 friends, filled with excitement for their big game, took a wrong turn into an absolute nightmare. Their story isn't just a mystery, it's a heartbreaking puzzle, where every piece of evidence you find just creates more questions, leaving their final hours a secret the mountain just refuses to give up.
And this quote from one of the lead investigators really just gets to the heart of the whole enigma. He said the odds of them finding that trailer by sheer chance were 1 in 1,000. So, did they get impossibly lucky, only to then make a series of fatally unlucky decisions? Or was there something else at play on that cold, dark road? That's the question that remains completely unanswered